Hello, everyone. I'm Joshua Habursky, joined by Glynn Loope. We're here back for our latest edition of the Filibuster, our government affairs update. A lot of things going on at the state level. One kind of informational announcement to lead off with. Tomorrow, as well as Thursday, we will be conducting our regional state advocacy trainings in the afternoon, or in the evenings rather. Those times were sent out based off of your state and your region. Glynn, I don't know if you want to go over where specifically those trainings are taking place. I know we have Midwest and West on Thursday. Tomorrow we have North and South?
Northeast and South tomorrow evening.
And those times are
5 and 6 o'clock, I believe.
Yeah.
But they will be reposted, and our friend Antoine will be resending out reminders, I'm sure, tomorrow morning and Thursday morning for those respective regions.
And it's one of those trick questions. I have it up. It's 6 p.m., 7 p.m. tomorrow Eastern time. For the first one is 6 p.m. Northeast, 7 p.m. is the South. That will be tomorrow. And then on Thursday, the times, and this is in Eastern, 8 p.m. Midwest and 9 p.m. West. So those are the times for us based in Washington, D.C. But we know for folks locally, those times will change a little bit. Glynn, want to go into the state issues of the day that you're tackling. I know that you provided some testimony recently. So why don't we start there in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts?
Well, as you know, it's like basically October. And already I was going through this punch list thinking about our discussion today, and already we're up to a dozen states, with issues that are either going on right now as we speak or will be pending come January when most of the country's state legislatures go into session. So, as you mentioned, and you know how I feel about show and tell, um, yesterday, two bad bills were heard. There were more bad bills than this, but these are the two that really pertain to the premium cigar industry. Is this is a House version and a Senate version of the legislation pending in the Massachusetts legislature that would double the OTP tax in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It would take it from 40% to 80%, which would be devastating. It would be the highest in the country, short of Utah. So even in light of the tax increases that were experienced in Indiana, Illinois, and Maine in this past year, Massachusetts has legislators that are really trying to take it to an entirely new level, and it would hurt in a devastating fashion the really about a dozen premium cigar retailers that are in Massachusetts. Yesterday was purely a hearing. There were no votes. Votes are probably anticipated sometime in November, and hopefully these will be shelved. Another couple of issues that have been getting some play and we're deeply involved with, and that's California on their unflavored tobacco list regulation that came out of their Attorney General's office. We're conferring with industry allies inside and outside of California, regulatory council, litigation council, regulatory strategies, legislative strategies to really document and outline how this regulation is harmful to the premium cigar industry and really penalizes far too many companies that just simply want to do business and support the retail community in California. This is going to be an ongoing discussion that'll be held over going into the 2026 legislative season. Texas, we're concerned about a bill that was enacted without the governor's signature, and that was one that would play a role in limiting the way that celebrities could promote their role with the premium cigar industry. The law was written in a rather nebulous, generalized fashion. We've got concerns about it. And in fact, in 55 minutes, I've got a discussion with the sponsoring senator's office to discuss our concerns and if we can facilitate some changes from a regulatory perspective. So that's California, Texas, and Massachusetts. Today, and we're waiting as we speak, as I look at my watch for the third time, a hearing on closing smoking exemptions in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So that hearing's anticipated. Right now, that legislation has exemptions for premium cigar bars and shops, but you never know in the legislative process when these things can be expanded. It's getting a hearing in the Pennsylvania House Health Committee, and we'll be reporting back any exciting proceedings that come out of that. We're having discussions in preparation of the 26th legislative session, cigar bar legislation in Maryland, Kentucky, and New York. I had a discussion this week with our friend Michael Fry regarding Nevada's tax cap. That tax cap was passed with a sunset provision, and it makes it for good timing. And I know I'll get into this in just a few minutes, but it plays into the discussion about the PCA and CAA tax cap study. So we'll come back to that discussion in just a second. We've heard concerns regarding smoking regulations in Wisconsin. We are providing data literally to our friend Mr. Phil Ledbetter at Up Down Cigar in Chicago on virtually a daily basis in support of the forthcoming refiling of the tax cap legislation in the state of Illinois, which is ever more important considering the tax increase that passed there this past year. Likewise, in that same vein, we are planning legislation that we can get behind instead of just fight to try to reverse or attack the tax increases that took place in Indiana and Maine. Just this week, there was a refiling of a regulatory package that we are taking a look at. We know that vape and e-cigarettes are the target, but there's some provisions of this package that we have concerns about, and that is a regulatory package of bills that were filed in Michigan this past week. We anticipate the refiling of the tax cap bill in New York and Virginia, and that rounds out a dozen states just in the last 14 to 20 days of what's transpired. As I mentioned, Nevada brought up the sunset provision on their tax cap, which was the same way that the tax cap was passed in the state of Louisiana this year. All this works into the package that's being developed as we speak, where we have a tax effects of tax cap study underway with Dr. Ernie Goss Associates out of Nebraska, out of the University of Nebraska. Just this morning, we had a call regarding the projections on that in Virginia. This study is going to be a state by state analysis on the impacts of existing tax levels, the impact that certain tax caps would have, an assessment of the 15 states that have already passed tax caps and how effective they have been. And it's also going to be an analysis on the impact of tariffs on the premium cigar industry. So we hope that that study will be done in the next 30 to 45 days in time for its use during the 2026 legislative season. And there you go.
So certainly a lot of stuff going on at the state level. And Glynn, you and I had some representatives of state associations present in Washington a couple of weeks ago. I think one of the things that you and I both emphasized is that the 2026 legislative cycle is going to be a challenge, especially on the tax front. That's why it's fortuitous that we have this study information rearing to go, given the fact that you have these budget vacuums at the state level and that legislators are going to be looking to fill those budget gaps through new taxes or tax increases like those on so-called sin industries, which include tobacco taxes. So that's something that we want to throw on everyone's radar just because you have been in a state that traditionally has not looked at increasing tobacco taxes, it should be on your radar this year to monitor and be cognizant of what's going on. We have our tracking services, and Glynn and I are, sifting through, along with our outside government affairs counsel, several thousand bills every year. But if you get wind of tax bills in particular, please send them our way. And if you don't receive messages from Glynn or myself or our system, and you are aware of something, feel free to shoot us a note. I think the tax front is something that we're deeply concerned about. The other point from our board meeting that I want to make is that we renewed our advocacy grant, state advocacy grant program. So we're actively accepting applications for those. And we've kind of diversified this program a little bit, not only for lobbying activities for our state affiliates and state associations, but if you are in a state that does not have a state association, please reach out to Glynn. I think we will have the ability to offer some seed money to start new state associations. And if you're not familiar with your state association, please feel free to reach out to Glynn, and he can connect you with the state association if one exists. And if one does not, then we can have the conversation about forming a new one. Glynn, any other state housekeeping items?
Well, in light of the fact that we've got the byline underneath you and I, get involved today at cigaraction.org. Now is the time for the retailers in our network to be circulating cigaraction.org to their customers, to their patrons, to their databases, because building up that grassroots database now is going to be critical in January, when we have to galvanize the cigar smokers of America to engage in the political process. You mentioned the budget holes that are completely anticipated right now. Each of these states are going to be getting mega bills for Medicaid mandates, and it's going to be critical, as legislatures are looking under every rock for every dollar, that we know how to protect this industry. And cigar enthusiasts are going to have to be as galvanized in the 26th legislative season as any time in our history. And it's painfully obvious through some of the legislation that I pointed out that it's not just tax issues. We're not beyond the smoking ban era. There's going to be states where that still consistently comes up. Regulatory packages, licensing packages, all those are going to be countered by us advocating for tax caps, at the same time fighting tax increases, smoking bans versus other forms of regulation. So it's a time in our history as an industry that we're going to have to be as engaged and on our A game as absolutely ever.
Yes, certainly. If anyone has questions or specific issues going on that need addressed at the state or local level, please reach out to Glynn or myself. I do want to take a few moments to go over some other association happenings in addition to state advocacy. Minutes ago, we had the release go out of our new member benefit partnership with Eventbrite. That's really something that we've been working on for a couple months. So added value for membership. We know a lot of folks are renewing their membership for next year. We have reached over 60% of our allotment for the FIU course that we'll be hosting in November. So something on the education front there that, certainly looking forward to. A lot of folks have been finalizing booking booths for our trade show in New Orleans next year. I know Lisa has had several booth sales. If you are on the fence and considering exhibiting at the 2026 PCA show, it is imperative that you reach out to Lisa Sigler because we are running out of space. We expect to be sold out of show floor space, very soon. And then the other piece, if you are still interested in participating in the World Cigar Show in Dubai, which is also in November, please feel free to reach out to myself or Lisa Cox. We will also be doing a conference at the World Cigar Show that our Director of International and Education, Ricardo Carioni, will be presiding over. So if you're interested in you plan on coming to the show and exhibiting, or as just an attendee and you wish to participate in the conference, feel free to reach out to Ricardo. I think those are the big ticket items. We're continuing on a rapid pace to release new resources. I know Antoine has finalized the next issue of our magazine as well as our almanac, so those should be hitting doors, later, or in October. And then the other piece that is a new development, we work with our regulatory council on information on the PACT Act. That's a new kind of advocacy resource that we released. And then later this month, we have a couple key events. October 24th, we're working with CLE and Christian Arroyo to release the new congressional cigar here at our office in Washington, D.C. So if you're in town on October 24th and you would like to experience that new cigar with Christian, feel free to reach out. And then myself, as well as Glynn, will be on site during Cigar Aficionado's Big Smoke, there to answer questions, meet with consumers, retailers, and support our friends at Cigar Aficionado. Glynn, did I miss anything on the association housekeeping?
I can't believe you forgot this in light of what I'm wearing, but everybody should go to the new PCA store so they can get one of these cool hats to help the cause.
Absolutely. I got a sweatshirt. I know our team has all purchased some different items, and that is a way, just so everyone knows, 40% of the sale goes to the association. So it's, when I came on board as the executive director and CEO, I wanted to make it so that we had programs that we could offer value, that we're not asking our members constantly for a handout. We're providing value, and this is an easy way that you can chip into our advocacy efforts by purchasing a piece of PCA merchandise. We are working on some co-branding arrangements and some creative things for the holiday season. So we hope to have some additional updates there. Any final thoughts, Glynn?
No, just cannot say it enough. Pay attention to cigaraction.org for your state's updates. Check it daily, check it weekly. We'll keep you apprised and keep that up to date in real time. So that's the portal to stay up on what's going on in the world of cigar politics.
And if you are a state association leader and your region is tomorrow or Thursday, please join that session with Glynn and I. It's imperative that if you're not able to make it, if time for whatever reason does not work, we will record it. But we like to have active participation on those so that you can call attention to some of the issues that are on the forefront. So if you're not able to make it as a state association leader, please designate. But we encourage all retailers, manufacturers, sales reps to join one of those regional trainings. Thank you all for your time, and we'll talk to you soon.